Hey everybody, it's Matt Shu from Upright Health, and I'm joined today with Jonathan in Melbourne, Australia. Jonathan um, was kind enough to join us today so he could share his story with his hip problems, with his experience with the FAI Fix, and and to share, what he's been able to accomplish as a result. I'm quite excited because I saw him tag me on Instagram with a video of him doing some pretty amazing breakdancing moves, and so I had to follow up with him to find out exactly what he was doing and what his story was. So, Jonathan, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your story.
That's all right, man. Thank you for having me, and thank you for making FAI Fix, making my life a lot better.
Well, you're very welcome. So super interested to hear the history. So when did your problems start, and what happened? How is it affecting your life?
Well, the onset was 3 years ago, and it all started by it was at a time in my dance career where I was really taking it very seriously. So I was training at least 4, 5 days a week. But I guess the problem with breakdancing and my approach to it was I wasn't stretching, and
Hmm.
I was just it's what you do when you're kind of a bit younger. You just throw yourself into things, and I just kept on pulling my hip constantly, like every second week. I'd be pulling my hip, and it just get worse and worse. And then I decided to go to a physio,
Uh-huh.
and he said I just had a pulled hip flexor, but it just kept on reoccurring.
Right.
And then he tried to do the is it the Harris hip score, the hip test thing, where
Yeah.
you lie down and then they put your leg into internal rotation. And
Just doing the Faber or Fader test, the flexion.
yeah,
Uh-huh. Okay.
yeah, that one. And yeah, he's my physio just said it was absolutely shocking, and then he said I may have FAI, which
Hmm.
I think at that time was still relatively kind of new.
Hmm.
Like not many people knew about it or something. Well, here in Melbourne,
Hmm.
and I got an MRI scan, and I actually did have it.
Hmm.
I had a I think it was cam and pincer.
Uh-huh.
So the head of the femur was really really fat,
Hmm.
according to my physio,
Hmm.
and the joint, the socket joint, was actually really like just really going over it, and it just wasn't. It just kept on clicking. Well, according to my physio, it's clicking against all the cartilage and ligaments and all that.
Okay. Okay.
And then we got started off into doing some basic exercises like fixing up my squat.
Hmm.
Supposedly, my squat was absolutely just
Just
shocking.
just
It
terrible.
was,
Okay.
yeah, it just wasn't there. And for something like breakdancing, I think you kind of need well, for certain moves, you need a pretty decent squat.
Hmm.
Oops, my phone's going off.
No worries.
And yeah, so we went from there. We started off fixing my squat. Things were actually getting better,
Hmm.
and there was some similarities between your program and the program he made for
Hmm.
me.
Hmm.
It's just that it wasn't really as in depth. Over time, it just wasn't working.
Okay.
I kept on. I tried to avoid certain moves in breakdancing because I knew that, okay, obviously my squat position isn't very good, so I'm
Hmm.
gonna stay away from a bunch of movements that are gonna affect me in that way.
Right.
Also, I stayed away from a lot of moves that had a lot of internal rotation, a lot of inside
Right. Right.
to the inside of my body.
Were you experiencing a lot of pain just in daily life, or was it only affecting
Oh
you
yeah,
during?
it got at its worst, at its like very worst. There was days where I was getting shooting pain from my like the top of my glute all the way down to my foot,
Oh, okay.
and yeah, this is when it got really bad. And then I couldn't walk. Like I'd be walking, and then randomly I'd just get this really really sharp shooting pain, and then I could no longer communicate to my leg to walk, and
Mm-hmm.
I'd freak out because like I'm in the middle of the road, crossing the road.
Oh,
I'm with my
jeez.
friends. I'm like, oh no, dude, I can't walk right now. What's going on? I'm like, uh-oh, this must be like the FAI kicking in.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Then, because at that time, that was already maybe 6 months in,
Uh-huh.
doing work with my physio, and I thought it would have got better, but
Right.
yeah, it just started getting worse from there. But
So how long were you doing so you were doing physio for 6 months at that point, your leg was still giving out randomly. At what point then did you, I mean, what did you do after that, after the physio?
um, well, I it was like a process of elimination. So I took away the moves in breaking that were aggravating my hips,
Mm-hmm.
and then so I was just working with my strengths and what was still comfortable at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then it got worse, and then it got worse, and so I
Okay.
just stopped. I just stopped completely.
Okay.
Um, I went back to my physio, and then he's like, he suggested that. Well, he first suggested that we try do like the um, I guess the physical approach, like the less invasive approach,
Mm-hmm.
and went back to him, and he's like, maybe you might have to get surgery, the
Right.
arthroscopic
Right.
structure of my bones. And then yeah, out of I guess and paranoia or anxiety, I was just surfing the internet
Uh-huh.
far and wide, and I happened to stumble across Upright Health.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just went from there. I think even when I found you guys didn't make the FAI Fix. You just had uh,
Just some
more,
videos about it or
yeah,
something.
just
Mm-hmm.
videos explaining as to why surgery isn't always the answer. And
Mm-hmm.
I just kept on following your videos, and then yeah, over time your program came out, and I just bought it. I've been using it. I still use it every day, pretty much.
So, how long were you using it? What was your experience like? So you started using it. How long did it take before you noticed anything helping?
So I stopped dancing, and I found your uh, program, and I actually joined up at a kickboxing gym because I wanted to make sure I didn't stop being fit.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I noticed, it was pretty much straight away. Like I was already feeling notices. I did that. I forgot what it's called. I haven't done this stretch in a while. That glute stretch on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Got to raise your legs up, and then you got to like cross over one leg,
Right,
and
right,
then
right. Yeah.
does that cool glute stretch.
Uh-huh.
Um, and pretty much, yeah, it was pretty much straight away. I was already seeing differences. I mean, not really big differences,
Mm-hmm.
but pretty much from the start, I was yeah already feeling differences. I
Okay.
was too scared. I was a bit hesitant to dance though.
Sure.
I didn't start dancing till maybe a year after I fully followed your course.
Okay.
So
Okay. So let's see. So after about a year, that's when you went back to breakdancing, and how long have you been breakdancing now, since you restarted?
pretty state now. It's maybe been maybe 8 months.
Okay, nice.
8 months, and I've been. It's pretty much like I've never stopped. I'm probably doing a lot more now than ever. And like I'm not only dancing, I'm also doing martial arts at the same time.
Nice.
And I'm still dancing like maybe like 5 hours at a time, and
Oh.
everything feels sweet. I just have to take the precautions. Like there's a lot more stretching involved,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of band work involved, and just the soft tissue work. I mean, I can't do it all at once, but when I get the time, I try to incorporate at least once
Mm-hmm.
one of them.
So, in terms of the comfort levels now, are you getting any of those random like zings down your leg? Are you running into those kinds of problems where your legs hurting or your hips hurting anymore?
Oh no, not at all. Surprisingly not. And sometimes like I do slack off. It's like, oh, I just don't do it. Or sometimes I just kind of go in there guns blazing with no warm up, no nothing. And
Uh-huh.
uh, I haven't had any problems at all. I've had no shooting pain in my glute. I've had, well, nerve pain. I haven't had really any pain at all, which is because I was actually really quite hesitant coming back into breakdancing because I really got to turn my phone off. um, I was really hesitant because it was just when I kept on running into that pain, it was just too much to handle.
Right.
Especially when I'd be walking and then I stopped walking because of the nerve pain.
Right.
But I haven't experienced that pain at all ever since. Ever since following your guide, I haven't had any problems at all. Actually,
All
I mean, I
right.
still do it. Yeah, no problems at all, and thank God.
I guess from that we can conclude that you're probably not going to be getting the surgery at this point. That doesn't seem like it's too necessary.
No chance.
Okay.
No way in hell. Yeah.
So in terms of your experience here, I mean, are there things that you think would be helpful for other people to know if they've been told they have FAI? Are there things that you think people should know just in terms of the recovery process? Any kind of words of advice or wisdom you would want to share with somebody or share with yourself if you were talking to yourself, 2 years ago? Is there anything you would want to
Oh,
say?
oh yeah. I just say it's not the end of it all. And just to really take the time and take in the content that you've made and just put in the work. I mean, I don't think I also would have been at this level if I didn't put in the work and
Hmm.
follow your guide as good as possible. I think you should really just take the time out just to slow down and just really work on your hips.
Right, right. Yeah, I think the slow down part is actually pretty important because I know even for myself personally, and probably for you for a while, right? There's a desire to want to keep pushing, and you're just going to want to keep doing the activity, and then it gets to a breaking point when you realize you actually have to just back off a little bit and start troubleshooting things and really.
Yeah, it's totally troubleshooting. Yeah, that's probably the best word. Basically starting from ground up again, but a lot stronger. I actually feel a lot stronger, and also my perspective on I think just maintaining my body has really come a long way. Just from following your guide, I follow pretty much most of the principles just in different areas of my body now. And
I think everything you've shared here has been really helpful. So again, I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day and sharing your story so other people can see this, and really want to highlight just how bad it was for you at some point where you couldn't walk and now you can break dance again. That's such a huge change, and I hope that everyone who sees this video takes away that inspiration because that's such a huge change from one level of fitness to a whole other level, and it's just spectacular that you took the time to make that happen. So congratulations to you, and I hope everybody else, you can take a lesson from Jonathon. Anything else you want to add, Jonathon?
um, not really. Just don't be too impulsive and get the surgery. I don't think it's worth it. Considering I had cam and pincer, like cam and pincer FAI,
Hmm.
I I probably should have
Right.
got the surgery. And it's actually quite funny because the second physio I saw had it, and he's like, "You should get the surgery." But then I'm like, "Hey, you didn't get the surgery." I'm like, "Wait a second."
Well,
So yeah, definitely don't be too impulsive and just as me and Matt said, just slow down. It's all good. It's not the end of the world.
awesome. Thanks so much, Jonathon. So everybody, I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you remember, Jonathon backed me up on this one. I hope you remember that pain sucks.
Life shouldn't. Haha, yes, sir.
If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, and comment. And don't forget to subscribe.